What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 7 of Season 2 of the APA Academy, and this week we are up against Jack, aka Donphanatic, and his Norwich Skitty. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. I had to look up how to pronounce it because, let's be real, I am atrocious at any sort of pronunciation. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button as it helps us out a ton, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And also check out my opponent's channel that will be linked in the description below, where you can see his side of the battle. And finally, big shout outs to Danza for recording this game. Danza, I promise that I'm going to try to remember to thank you every single time from here on the rest of the season, although knowing my luck, I'm going to miss at least one. But anyway, on to the battle. Like I said, we are up against Jack, and his full roster consists of Kyurem White, Tapu Fini, Heatran, Raikou, or Raikou, I prefer Raikou, Crobat, Decidueye, Megakang, Hoopa Unbound, Garbodor, Rhyperior, Leavanny, and Minior. So basically, long story short, his team has zero Zygarde answers. Like, zero Zygarde switch-ins. Like, Thousand Arrows is going to do an absolute butt-ton to everything on his team. But at the same time, Kyurem is terrifying for me to go up against, just straight up. I don't have anything that really takes on Kyurem all that well, just because its dual stab is ridiculously good. Ice plus Dragon is insane. So really the whole idea behind this game is pressure him. Just keep pressuring him, have some Trick Room. I know my team. My team is Trick Room, 3 attacks Victini, Trick Room, Stealth Rock, Flash Cannon, Earth Power Dialga, Mega Mawile, that is a Trick Room Abuser, Phytinium Z Gengar, Persian with just the Rocky Helmet this time. I wanted to go Darkinium, but I figured that Gengar with Phytinium was better in this matchup, just because I can choose to eliminate like the Heatran, the Megakang, the Hoopa, or the Kyurem. Granted, Hoopa I have to have a little bit of chip damage off because Hoopa has incredible special defense randomly. But either way, like, being able to click Phytinium just eliminates something, and if the Megakang is offensive, I can use Persian with the Rocky Helmet to get extra damage off on it and still keep the momentum that I've been wanting with Parting Shot. And then finally, just have the traditional Dragon Dance, Thousand Arrows, Extreme Speed, Outrage Zygarde, because look at his team. Zygarde absolutely demolishes him. So as soon as I can set up the Zygarde, I will be able to go in, because his only answer is Decidueye. Decidueye does not do well against Zygarde, especially because 5 out of the 6 Mons on my team have switch-ins and beneficial matchups against the Decidueye, so I'm really not ultimately worried about that. Granted, the Hoopa could be a little bit annoying if he does EV it to try to take advantage of Trick Room, but I'm thinking if I can keep Trick Room up, I should be able to pressure him hard enough that I will be able to win the game. And of course, Gengar is there as well to be the fastest Mon that is non-scarfed outside of Trick Room, so given what his team has and then what his team was in general, he doesn't have great switch-ins to Gengar either. So my game plan, put on the pressure early, keep my foot on the gas, and not let him get much of anything set up, because the more I can determine the more I can apply the pressure to him and the more I can determine the pace of the battle, the better off I will be. So yeah, I'm going to lead off with my Victini, try to get the Trick Room up and start applying pressure from the get-go, and let's just go ahead and hop right on into it. So, given that Victini is going to be my lead of choice, I'm thinking against his team, the only thing that I have to fear is the Heatran on switch-in, because I also have a Colbur Berry for the Hoopa, spoilers. Well, not really spoilers, you would have seen that if I did a team builder, but either way, I have a Colbur Berry on my Victini. He leads off with his Decidueye. I'm thinking, okay, even if Decidueye goes for Spirit Shackle, it's not going to one-hit KO me because I am a pretty bulky Victini. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes in Trick Room. So, I'm thinking that Decidueye is just going to switch out. He does reveal that he is a Jolly variant with max attack, so I'm like, okay, this is probably a Scarf Decidueye. That kind of makes sense against my team. Outspeeds a lot of stuff, particularly the Gengar, which can be a huge threat against him. As he goes into Heatran, I'm just going to U-turn my Victini out. There's nothing much I can do. I can go for Bolt Strike, do a tiny bit of damage, but that's really not going to do a whole lot. So I am just going to take this opportunity, go straight into my Dialga, and get up my rocks and also threaten out this Heatran with Earth Power, because the combination of Flash Cannon and Earth Power, even though I still am pretty bulky, I am an Iapop Berry variant for his Kyurem, just be able to take one hit from Kyurem, eat my Iapop. I believe I have enough Spadef to live a Specs Draco from full. and then pop the Eye Papa Berry. So yeah, I am just going to go straight for the Stealth Rock as Decidueye comes in, and it's like, okay, I mean, Decidueye came in, he got Earth Power damage off on my Kyurem. Wow, not my Kyurem. On my Dialga. There's not a whole lot Decidueye can do against me. I can just start firing off flash cannons against him. I can get damage on that thing, as he does reveal to be minimum, if not... well, a little bit, if not minimum investment. So I'm like, yeah, this Decidueye is 100% scarfed, as he does just go into his Kangaskhan. And now, with the Kangaskhan in, that is completely fine with me. I am going to go into my Persian immediately, as the Trick Room should be wearing off as soon as this turn ends. So, I mean, even though Persian is switching in under Trick Room will not be active when it actually matters. So I'm hoping that Kangaskhan goes for like a return or something. Even if he goes for an Earthquake or a Power-Up Punch, that is fine. It still does a ton of damage to him. And then just right off the bat, I'm going to go straight for the Parting Shot. I figure that he's probably going to switch into his Finny, try to get rid of the rocks or something like that. But nope, he stays in, so I'm like, well, maybe he's going for Toxic, maybe he's going for a fighting move or something, but either way, I do have a very bulky Zygarde that I'm going to switch into right off the bat, as he does go for the Wish, so I'm thinking that there's not a whole lot I can do damage-wise that's going to have a lasting impact. So instead of going straight for 1,000 arrows, I am actually immediately going to go for the Dragon Dance, as he switches into his Tapu Fini, which is completely fine. I mean, Tapu Fini is probably a defensive variant. I can scout out the damage. It's not going to do a ton. Even Specs, I believe he has to be modest Specs and get a max roll in order to knock me out from full, which, okay, to be completely honest, I'm not exactly thinking that this Tapu Fini is. So I'm just going to immediately scout out the damage with my Zygarde, go for the 1,000 arrows, and as it turns out, that does negative damage. That does so ridiculously little that confirms that this is a defensive Finny, and that damage confirms it as well. I mean, it does a lot, but once I get Papa form, I will be able to live 2 more Moonblasts after this. I believe the next Moonblast will put me into Papa, and then after Papa, I will be able to do that. But I'm not wanting to risk the combination of leftovers putting him out of range of 3 more 1,000 arrows just yet. So I'm like, whatever, he's going to go for the Moonblast for sure once again, because this Zygarde is way too big of a threat against his team. So I'm going to pull the switch into my Gengar, and basically all but claim a kill. Gengar comes in and it wrecks something. Like, Finny can maybe do some damage to me with Surf, but he does not want Finny to be damaged whatsoever against my team, just because that is his only way of checking Zygarde. Like, otherwise Zygarde spams 1,000 arrows and kills stuff. So I'm going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. He goes into his Decidueye. That thing comes in, takes rocks, and drops. So Gengar is immediately picking up a kill right off the bat as he goes into his Mega King. And I'm thinking, okay, this thing probably has Sucker Punch. This thing can potentially take a hit. I'm not going to blow my Z just yet. I'm going to wait and see how this game plays out, especially because I still have my Persian and my Zygarde at good amounts of health. So it's really not a big deal to switch into either of those at this point. As you can see, Earthquake reveals that this Kangaskhan is a bulky variant, so it's not even going to do all that much damage to me, and I am going to be able to get my Papa form right off the bat. And so this is coming together very, very nicely, as I'm going to be bulky. Leftovers is going to be getting more overall HP just because of my higher HP stat. And yeah, very early in the game, I'm not sure what turn it is because this is Wi-Fi, but I will get Papa form, and I can save my Z fighting for either the Kyurem, the Heatran, or the Hoopa later if I do need it. But regardless, with the Kangaskhan in, I am just going to try to set up on this thing once again. I'm like, whatever, I can just continually chip down the Finny. I'm gonna see what's going on. I think I should be out of range of 2 Moonblasts at this point. I am +1/+1. Finny came in on rocks. It's gonna take 2 turns to mitigate that damage, and with the lefties, I will be out of range of 2 Moonblasts. So, and okay, admittedly, I'm gonna get super greedy right now, and I'm just gonna go for game. I'm gonna go for another Dragon Dance and just be like, yeah, screw it, let's see what happens. And the smart play would have been to go Gengar, pick up another KO with Sludge Bomb into Z fighting, have Finny, well, after another 1,000 arrows, have Finny take a little bit more damage, go into Gengar, and then rinse repeat later, where I can just come in on the Kang, set up again, avoid the 2-hit KO, and then proceed to try to sweep him or at least heavily damage his team with Zygarde. But at this point, I was thinking that, you know what, screw it, I'm not even calcing at this point. I was like, yeah, that looks like a 2-hit KO, that looks like enough damage. So I'm just going to take my +2/+2 right to the bank, just try to be like, okay, I mean, I could make the smart play and play the long game, wear this Finny down a little bit, wait until I knocked it off with my Persian, wait till I with my Mawile, wait till I damaged it a little bit with Victini or Dialga, but I was like, nah, this is fine. I'm just going to take my +2/+2 and try to sweep his team, and of course it doesn't work out. As it turns out, he lives on 2 frickin' HP, and he's able to KO me. I mean, it would have just been game right there, because he had nothing for Zygarde with Rocks Up. Like, everything on his team just died, and so 2 frickin' HP prevented Zygarde from being able to sweep right there. And I mean, again, that's completely my fault. I was just impatient. I mean, my apathy is showing. I'm just kind of like, screw it, let's just see what happens. But either way, I am able to go into my Gengar and pick up this KO, knock out the Finny, and I'm still just in an amazing position because Finny is dead, and yeah, I mean, Gengar's in, he has nothing that wants to come in. He goes into his Hoopa, and I'm thinking that, okay, Hoopa can either take the hit or he's a Scarfed Hoopa. Either way, I don't want my Gengar in. Gengar is way, way, way too good, especially because if I bring it in on like the Heatran or the Kyurem later, I can just click the Z Fighting and pick up a KO, as he makes a very nice prediction and goes for the Drain Punch on my Persian, and I was thinking that was banded, but nope, it's a crit, and unfortunately that looks like Scarf damage. Like, that really looks like Scarf damage, so I'm like, oh crap, this really sucks. So I'm just guessing that my Persian's gonna go down, and if he is confirmed to be Scarf, I can just go into my Gengar and pick up a kill, or go into my Victini and set up Trick Room after that. But either way, I'm gonna go for the U-turn, as he actually just goes into his Kangaskhan. He does not decide to get the kill with Hoopa, so I mean, I guess he didn't want to give my Gengar another free switch in, or give my Victini a free Trick Room, because that does look to be like a potentially game-ending scenario. And I'm going to go into my Gengar and just fire off my Z move, as he does end up going for the Protect, and I really should have seen this coming. I was thinking that, okay, he might try to Protect to scout out Gengar, because I've been playing Gengar as if it's a choiced variant. I've been playing it as if it's potentially Scarfed. I was trying to bluff that, and I really just should have put 2 and 2 together at this point. They're like, okay, he thinks I'm choiced in one way or another. He is probably going to just Protect to scout out my move, as unfortunately I don't get the KO, but I do a ton of damage to Mega Kang. And at this point I was like, you know what, screw calking, I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb, don't want to risk the Focus Blast. And as it turned out, if he was max, there was maybe a chance, I don't know, I didn't really look too closely at his HP bar, but Sludge Bomb does take care of him, and that's what's Sludge Bomb does take care of him, and that's what ultimately matters. I cannot talk right now. But he does go into his Heatran, meaning that this is a free switch into my Dialga. I know based on the Earth Power damage, it will 100% put me in range of my Berry, so that I will be able to not only get up Trick Room, but then also threaten the remainder of his team with the combination of Earth Power and Flash Cannon, as he actually does end up getting his Rocks Up, and I know, once again, without a crit, there's nothing he can do, so I am going to take that Earth Power very, very easily, consume my Berry, and get the Trick Room up, so now my Dialga is actually at a really good amount of health, and the Trick Room is up, which is really the beginning of the end for his team. Like, there is not a whole lot he can do at this point. I believe Hoopa will even be 2-hit KO'd by coming in on Rocks and Earth Power into Flash Cannon, because it's a Scarf Hoopa, so it probably has a pretty good chunk of investment in its attack and speed, to where it probably doesn't have a whole lot of bulk. So Heatran goes down, meaning that my Victini is looking in a great position to win this game. And speaking of Victini, with the Hoopa coming in, I know it's probably going to go for the Drain Punch to try to get out of range of anything on my team, so I'm going to go straight into my Victini, as he does do exactly that, goes for the Drain Punch. This is not going to do much of anything, and my Victini is in a phenomenal spot right now. What I really should have done, I am going to click the V-Create just because, I mean, I really like the animation. And I mean, I knew that the better play at this point was to go straight for the U-turn, go into my Mawile, and then just end the game on the Kyurem with Play Rough. But nah, I wanted to see the animation of V-Create because I think it was so cool. So I knock out the Hoopa, meaning he only has his Kyurem left. And unfortunately, Victini is not going to be able to one-shot that thing, so I am just going to have to over and over go for the V-Create. I know in the end, my Gengar will be able to take that thing out with the Destiny Bond. I mean, I have a guaranteed 2-0 at this point. I know it's 5-1 right now, but all I have to do, V-Create until he kills me. If he's a choiced variant, then he cannot roost up, but as it does turn out, as it does end up, he does have the roost, and Trick Room will end as he's around 60%, so he should be able to kill me this next turn. All I have to do, go into my Persian, taunt that thing, let Persian die, go into Gengar, Destiny Bond as he is forced to kill me, and I will win the game having both my Mawile and my Dialga still alive. But for some reason, he goes for another Trick Room, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll take the extra differential as Victini goes for the Trick Room once again. And, I mean, it's not as if he didn't know I had Trick Room because I showed it earlier in the game. In fact, I let off and used it turn 1. But I am just going to go for the V-Create, as there is no way he is going to be able to Roost stall me out. And, I don't know, maybe I'll even be able to get a crit, and Victini will be able to pick up another kill, and I'll be able to pick up another differential point. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm just keeping him low, preventing him from being able to Roost stall out my Trick Room. I'm guessing he probably just misclicked at that point, instead of knocking out my Victini, going for the Roost and allowing me to set up another Trick Room, as now he is going to go for the Earth Power. Obviously that'll knock out my Victini, as I am like minus 20 at this point. And this is a freaking Kyurem White 170 base special attack that does so much. But this does give me the opportunity to go straight into any Mon that I want that isn't Gengar or Persian, so either Dialga or my Mawile. I decided that I wanted to bring out Mawile, get that cool Mega Evolution off, and be able to knock out this Kyurem with a Brick Break. I could have gone for the Play Rough, but you know, Play Rough has a nasty habit of missing, especially when I use Play Rough, so I was like, nah, this Kyurem has like 2 HP. I'm going to go straight for the Brick Break, knock that thing out, and we are able to win 4-0. So, I mean, admittedly, I think the Roost play was a misclick on his part, but again, all I had to do was sack Victini, go Persian, sack Persian as I go for Taunt, and then go Gengar as he is forced to kill me as I Destiny Bond, and that will knock out the Kyurem. So we are able to take that game 4-0 against Jack. GG, bud. That was a really, really fun game. I mean, I know that it ended up a little bit lopsided, but that was still a very, very fun game. And that frickin' Tapu Fini living on 2 HP, preventing my Zygarde from getting kills. Because, I mean, that's all I care about this season. I just want to get Zygarde kills. Admittedly, now that CPC is over, I'm just trying to have some fun, mess around. I mean, still, like, kind of try to win, but like not put too much effort into it. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Sticks signing out. Why not? See you guys.